All right, take two. I was having some connectivity issues. So, good morning, good Sunday to y'all. I'm sitting here preparing for my talk that I have in a couple hours here. So we'll see what I roll through. Might talk about a little secret space program. Might talk a little QAnon. Might talk a little holistic doctor deaths. That's something not too many people talk about. It needs to be talked about a little bit more so. And that being said, something else I might discuss that I always love to discuss because some people still think it's a conspiracy theory, even in the, quote, woke circles and conscious circles, people still think Pizzagate is a conspiracy, is fake, and it blows my mind. All you have to do is literally take about, I mean, we can argue how many minutes it would take, but at least like 2. Just need 2 minutes. Type in PODESTA'S emails and pizza meaning and Tony Podesta's artwork and go to Google image search, and I mean, it's not that tough. It's not that tough. But they are, of course, deep, hardcore subjects to start educating yourself about. So on that end, that's why people have a very tough time coming to believe it. It's not that, I mean, deep down they know the information is there and they know it's real, but they're just in their conscious state, their ego state, they're telling themselves that it's not real because they have yet to prepare for that sort of information. So, you know, it takes people time, and that's okay. But on that same level, if you are out there naysaying it and calling it a conspiracy, well, the team is only as strong as its weakest member, right? We're only as awake and aware as our most ignorant fellow humans. So we got some work to do in waking our friends and family up. But, you know, on that note, on that topic of Podesta's emails, now that we're 2 years on, they released on October 7th, 2016, so 2 years later. It's, man, 2 years. That's been quick. That's been very quick, but at the same time, it feels like so far away. So much has changed. So many people's perceptions are so different than then. And I know those Pizzagate emails were a lot of people's like red pill moment. If they were to have like one moment, one thing that woke them up, a lot of people say, boom, Podesta's emails. And it was for me too. You know, it didn't necessarily wake me up. I was very deep into truth research, but that particular moment definitely changed my perspective about a lot of things, because once I saw those emails come out in October of 2016, it began to change my perspective of the political climate. I'll be honest, in 2016, I thought Trump was controlled opposition. I thought that it was all, that whole election was just a charade, that the military-industrial complex or the deep state still had all their infiltration, all their clamp down on society here. So, you know, I didn't give much thought to it. But once those Podesta emails came out, and mind you, I actually, the pizza stuff in there, all the, those connections, the food words, code words, I didn't necessarily come to understand all of the pedo language and pedo symbology in there till a few weeks later. It was actually the ETI and ZPE, the extraterrestrial intelligence and 0-point energy. It weren't even codes, just acronyms in there, and the talk of John Podesta with, you know, DeLong and an Air Force general, and I think the director of Lockheed Skunk Works, a couple other individuals, talking about ETs and 0-point energy, free energy with these individuals. I was like, oh my God, this is disclosure. Once I saw that in the WikiLeaks emails, I was like, holy shit, what is this for? You know, what kind of partial disclosure bullshit are they bringing out? And like I said, I didn't have the context of the pizza stuff. Now, I knew Podesta was associated with Clinton. I knew Clinton was horribly corrupt, but I didn't know to what extent in regards to human trafficking and child sex trafficking. And once then, okay, so here I am just like flipping shit about the extraterrestrial intelligence and 0-point energy stuff. I'm like, oh my God, here it is. you know? And then a couple weeks later, the pizza stuff came into the picture, and then I started connecting all the dots, and I'm like, wow, okay, so we are dealing with child sex trafficking and these people who are into deep satanic nasty stuff at the same time want to disclose ETs and 0-point energy. So of course there's a disconnect there. It's obviously the disclosure of their disclosure, I want to say, of 0-point energy and ETs is going to be for a limited hangout operation to distract from the pizza stuff and the satanic stuff over here. And then I saw the whole, Trump and military alliance fit into the picture. And again, it's like I understood the idea of alliance and white hats being behind the scenes and yah, but then it started connecting with Trump. And I was like, okay, Donald Trump, I thought he was a bigot. I thought he was a racist. I thought he was, just some narcissistic asshole that the deep state put into office as controlled opposition. But again, those few weeks of waking up that morning, Podesta's emails, figuring out about those, figuring out about the pizza stuff, and then the election, waking up that morning and saying, holy shit, Hillary didn't win. Hillary didn't win. Hillary didn't win. Trump won. Okay. Then I started reverse engineering my understanding, my perspectives, and thinking, okay, that election must have been tampered with for a benevolent means. By that I mean there must have been a reverse hack done, as in the good guys came in, prevented the rigging of the elections to Hillary, and then Trump was able to get into office, and then Trump is working to take down these child sex traffickers, human traffickers, right? So at the end of 2016, I started to see all these things. I'm like, oh my God, there's these huge understandings that I'm coming to see, right? But at the same time, a lot of my, what do I want to say? I don't want to say friends and family. I want to say trusted resources of research on the internet. So I wasn't talking about these things with my friends and family at that point. But I had a lot of resources on the internet that I went to research from, and none of them were talking about these things. Very few of them were actually talking about the bigger picture of free energy disclosure, 0-point energy disclosure, the partial disclosure, limited hangout that the deep state wants to play. Very few of them, of course, were talking about Pizzagate and all of that. So towards the end of 2016, I was like, I need to talk about these things. I have these massive big picture perspectives of all this stuff that so many don't have, and I felt the need to just share that. So the Pizzagate emails, Podesta's emails, were a massive catalyzing moment for myself at the end of 2016. That's really what caused me to jump onto the internet and go more public with what I was doing, because I was researching this stuff for years. Not, of course, the human trafficking topics, but the whole everything surrounding the deep state, the health arena, big pharma, vaccines, GMOs, fluoride, the false flags, 9/11, et cetera, free energy and UFOs and all that stuff. But now with this, seeing it all come to fruition, becoming tangible. What I mean by that is that now we're getting names. We're getting names of people and evidence and insights into what these nasty people do on this end, but we're actually getting names of the good people trying to fight that on this end. Names like Flynn, names like Trump, names like, WikiLeaks at the time. We can argue as to whether or not they're compromised now, but at the time, boom, coming out with Podesta's emails, damn, So since I started to see the names, since it all was becoming more tangible to me, I was like, I need to write about this stuff. So I wrote a few articles for a friend of mine's blog and a couple other blogs. These articles were on Antarctica. Antarctica is something that I was learning a lot about, learning about the big picture perspectives of that a lot of people didn't have. So I wrote about that, the potential of there being ancient ruins down there, and the Nazis taking a lot of their stuff there pre and during World War II, and, lots of stuff in regards to Antarctica. And that being able to be used as a partial disclosure limited hangout by the deep state because of how ignorant so many people are about that. So I was like, wow, because in me, one of my biggest dislikes, for lack of a better term, one of my biggest dislikes is people not having the full truth and not being told things, not being able to make good decisions for themselves or understand how the world is doing because of the mis and disinformation we're taught and the ignorance of things we're not taught. I just hate that. I hate to see people disempowered in a fearful state, thinking that there's no option for them, not being able to realize their own potential simply because they don't have the information. So I was like, okay, I need to tell people about things. I wrote about Antarctica. I wrote a couple articles on flu shots just because I know that topic well, vaccines. Don't go get them. Reject the poison. So I wrote about that, and I actually wrote about something called Project Firesign, which many of you are familiar with Project Bluebeam, but there's a lot of misinformation out there about Project Bluebeam. Let me tell you, a lot of fear porn about that. And to go a little deeper, there was something called Project Firesign, which Clinton and their cronies, I mean, allegedly, it's claimed to be a leaked document, but it looks real. Looks to be some sort of strategy that the Clinton cronies wanted to put into play that was like a very Project Bluebeam-esque operation, in that they wanted to, it was called some sort of salvage plan, they called it in these claimed documents. So I wrote about Project Firesign, wrote about these emails and the whole idea of a limited hangout, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, man, that's my personal story, my personal experience. Somebody just asked, what's the point of this stream? The point of this stream is for just me to preach at y'all on this Sunday morning, right? That's how I honor God. I don't honor God in a church where they want you to give your money to a tax-exempt organization where some of the clergy members diddle kids anyway. No, I pray to God by informing my fellow man and trying to make them feel better about themselves. That's how I honor God. And try to develop myself, because I know by developing myself, that helps my fellow man develop. You honor God. You don't honor God in church. You honor God. I honor God. You honor God in your own personal ways. Everybody has their own personal ways. My personal ways is just, going out in nature, feeling damn good about this earth, giving back to it, giving back to my fellow man with knowledge and understanding and love and inspiration and support, putting myself out there so people can see me. Wow, look at all these weird subjects this guy's talking about, but he seems okay. Seems normal. So that makes them feel better about themselves. So that's how I honor the greater force in this world. And hell, there's a lot of stuff people are ignorant about these days, right? Which is sad, but on the other hand, it's actually really exciting. I get really excited when I realize how much we don't know, because there's so much growth ahead of us. So much growth. Moving into the fear and moving into the ignorance and getting rid of that leads to growth, self-development. So look how ignorant we are as a society. That means there's a lot of self-development ahead of us. Anyway, I just wanted to hang out with you guys for a few minutes here this morning and tell you about, I realized it was the 2-year anniversary of Pizzagate emails this morning, and I was like, wow. It was a very big moment in my life, so I wanted to share some of that with you guys. And, here we are 2 years later. We still have some of the limited hangout partial disclosures being brought forth that were being discussed in those Podesta emails, right? But luckily, nobody cares about those partial disclosures. You know what I'm talking about. I don't need to say names here. So those partial disclosures are failing because people want the truth. Their bullshit meters are getting so fine-tuned. I was talking about this last night with somebody here at the hotel place, and we were talking about the resonance of lies. Literally, if you're putting out misinformation on purpose, not unknowing information, but intentional misinformation, you can feel that resonance of the person lying, literally. And people are getting so tuned in, everybody across the board, we're all waking up at an exponential rate, that people's ability to sense that resonance of bullshit, the BSR, let's call that the bullshit resonance, being able to sense that BSR, it's getting a lot easier for people to do that. Okay? People are getting much more fine-tuned to sense bullshit. Intentional bullshit. Just look how many people knew that Dr. Ford was lying in front of Congress a few weeks ago. It's like so easy to tell. Granted, a lot of people didn't know, but a lot of people did. So easy to tell. And, okay, limited hangout. We're on that topic. Now, of course, we also have so much going on combating human trafficking. And I see a lot of people asking, where's the arrests? Where's the arrests? Where's the arrests? It's only been 2 years, guys. 2 years. In the big scheme of things, that's not a very long time. When you think about these military alliance operations in play to combat the deep state, they are moving fast. Q only came out almost a year ago now. In 3 weeks, it'll be a year. You know? I think that whole calm before the storm statement was... Shit, I think that was exactly a year ago yesterday. And it's 3 weeks until Q's first birthday, guys. 3 weeks! What are we gonna do for Q? My gosh. We should do a citizen's arrest of all these bad guys so they don't have to do it, right? They've done enough work. That's what we'll do for Q on their birthday. Go out with zip ties and pitchforks. No. Let's not do that. I'm not advocating violence. Cake. Let's get a big old Q cake. Oh, Q is not JFKR Jr. I do not subscribe to that ideology. So, there's been a lot of arrests, a lot of things going on. I know people are impatient for the arrests, and I totally understand. But at the same time, understand the breadth of this, understand the scope of it. Understand that because it is so deep, you cannot just go and boom, arrest Podesta. That's what people want. People are putting out their own expectations, their own internal desires, and get over that. Get over yourself. Get over what you personally want and think about what is best for society and how we need to handle this on a big scale. Can't just go out and round up a perp and call that good. You've got to do it in waves. You've got to go out and do it all at the same time. And of course, we're doing it in a legitimate way now because Trump took office. The military is in control, so they're doing it the legitimate way. And needing to plug up all these loose ends of legislature and making it official, you know, getting Kavanaugh onto the Supreme Court. So now there's a 5-4 advantage. So now military tribunals will be able to go forth much easier. You know, there's so many loose ends that need to be plugged up that it's not just going to happen like that, guys. It actually is happening very fast if you really think about it. We're going to, in 10, 20, 30 years, we're going to look back and be like, damn, that stuff went down, you know, in a 2-year span. It went from WikiLeaks dropping to Trump getting in to Q coming out to taking the Supreme Court advantage to all these indictments piling up to very soon there will be arrests, okay? Very soon. Give it a few months. Give it a few months. It's not very long, guys. Not very long at all, okay? And last point I want to make here is, my God, it's been going around in my mind lately, is that if Q didn't pop on the scene, where would we be at? Like, how do I word this? How do I word salad this to you guys? What's going on in my head? Good question. It's always a good question. So you look at, you know, we can speculate and somebody says I need medication. Aha. Just a few vitamins and amino acids. So we can speculate as to who Q is. You know, maybe this person's on it, this person's on it. It's a handful of individuals, handful that have the full scope. A lot more people are running operations for Q without knowing who or what they're running operations for. But okay, full scope of the picture is on less than 10, 3 or non-military, as per Q drops. So handful, literally a couple handfuls of people have the full scope of Q operation in their consciousness. Now, who is Q fighting? Of course, the Clinton cronies, the Podesta cronies, blah, blah, blah. Okay, they're definitely fighting the Satanism. They're definitely fighting that human child sex trafficking. Winning Mr. Magoo, completely. Now, take into account free energy, UFOs, ETs, okay? Q is fighting Podesta and them. Podesta and their groups, you know, CIA connected, Vatican connected, et cetera, et cetera. Just deep state, deep national security state through and through. These guys want to disclose free energy. They want to disclose UFOs. Of course, it's for a limited hangout on their end, but they know some things about these programs, these unacknowledged programs, where the money goes, what technology is available, et cetera, et cetera. So Q knows that, right? Just logical deduction here. Q knows all about free energy. Q knows all about the UFO phenomenon. I'm sure maybe Q doesn't have access to all the programs, but they're gaining access. They're trying to get access, information, intelligence about them. So Q basically, you know, the guys behind Q, they were sitting there behind their desks, or like the big round table, right? Maybe their round table was a big Q, and Trump as Q plus was like on the little Q tail, right? That's their round table. Q's round table. So they're sitting there at their round table, and they're like, God damn it. Mainstream media is totally co-opted. The alternative media sucks. We can't go through anybody in the alt media because either they're foreign assets or controlled opposition or whatever the case is, or, you know, it's just going to put a bullseye on any alt media journalist's head if they go to a particular person to try to get inside information out there. That's why Q said, you know, Sarah Carter has to have security detail, and she's only getting bits and pieces, I'm sure. So, okay, they can't go through anybody in the mainstream media. They can't go through anybody in the alternative media. So what are they going to do, okay? They're going to hop on 8chan. But damn. Look, you know, Q is sitting there looking right across the way at their enemies, what their enemies are doing, trafficking of humans, but also trafficking of technology. That's how I think of it, technology trafficking. So these deep state individuals, they harbor the technologies for themselves, and they sell it off. Maybe Clinton and Podesta, they have access to a little bit of this anti-gravity technology, electrogravitic technology. I bet they were selling it to China. That's what I bet. I bet that Clinton and, you know, their connections to whatever aerospace contractors and intelligence agencies. You look at China. China is coming out with their own stealth fighter. China was making headway in a lot of these black project technologies. And we already know there was a multi-year plan, if Hillary would have won, where they wanted to create a world war and have us lose and, you know, foreign enemies win. Possibly China. So Q said, fuck that. Q said, okay, not only are these Satanists trafficking humans, but my God, what are they doing with these black project technologies? And Q was, you know, whoever was behind Q was figuring out about these secret space programs, right? Think paperclip. Just put it all into perspective. The UFO stuff triggers people. Free energy stuff is difficult for people to grasp. But put it all together. Operation Paperclip, Operation High Jump. Damn Nazis. Damn Nazis in World War II didn't lose. They went down to Antarctica, and then they came into this country. And they did that primarily with UFO technologies. Okay? And then, of course, Operation Paperclip brought into a bunch of Nazis, brought in all their Nazi scientists and engineers into this country and really just clamped down. Deep state clampdown, right? It's all connected. UFO topic is connected to Pizzagate. Just like this, guys. UFO is connected to Pizzagate. All these different topics are connected to health. You know, we had all these Nazis come in, and they were instrumental in the intelligence agency setups and the aerospace industries being put in there, but many of these Nazi eugenicists also went into the medical industries. So vaccines, fluoride, GMOs, all stem from these same groups. Health is connected to Pizzagate, it's connected to UFOs and free energy, it's connected to the chemtrails going on over your heads, it's connected to your own awakening process, because your own awakening process is the only thing that's going to get rid of all of this nasty stuff going on this planet. Okay? So, yeah. Oh, believe nothing, research everything, see what patterns arise. Don't let your belief systems trigger you away from information that you might need to really come to an understanding of what's going on. And that's all I have to say this morning. I'll be back later. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Take care.